Coming up on the pipeline.
You are on this episode because you've been accepted, and this, we are so excited for you all. So we just want to know, how did it feel to be accepted in your respective school?
I get this call and I see it's 804. And I said, okay, it's an 804 number. Blah, blah, blah. I'm spilling it to her really fast so I could go get it. She's like, yeah, go ahead. So I run. It's just, I don't know. I can still remember just the feeling of wow.
And later, we speak to Dr. Michelle Lynam.
I said, we're not going home. So they literally met at night in the American ambassador's home because they didn't want anyone to catch them going to the embassy.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ray Allen Fredericks, and welcome to the Pipeline Podcast presented by VCU's Division for Health Sciences Diversity, which hosts the VCU Pipeline programs. Today, we have a great show for you. So what is this podcast all about? Well, we talk about the healthcare landscape, we speak with some incredible guests, and we check in with our Pipeline alum. Now, please welcome my co-host, Lorayah, the Assistant Director from the Division for Health Sciences Diversity. Lorayah, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm so excited that we're able to bring this to fruition. I'm really excited to chat with the students, so I'm just feeling good.
As well. I haven't seen you in months. I think we left the office in March. So it's been a long time since we've seen each other, and we used to visit each other's office maybe once an hour or so. And I haven't seen you since. So how's it been working from home?
I don't know if I want to answer that. I like that I have no commute time, so I do like that. But oh my goodness, just being in my house all the time, it's I'm ready to get out. I miss the office. I'm at the point where I even miss my bus ride, my bus 5 ride down to the office. But I'm doing virtual school with the kids, so I think that's the most difficult balance in that right now. But I love that even though we don't physically see each other, I feel like we're still connected regardless.
I think having kids probably make it so much harder because I don't have kids, and I think a lot of it from working from home has been positive for me. I love a lot of the control that it gave you, but it also took some control away to make your life a little more structured with these scheduled meetings. I think when we were in office, it was more like, hey, do you have time to meet in a little bit? But now it's at 5 p.m. we're going to meet, and it's okay, I got to be ready. I have to have all my ducks in a row before we get online, and I have to look good and presentable. So I like that about it.
Yeah, and I feel like before in the office, we would just come and meet in each person's office and just process. And so it's not really a space for that anymore. But I feel like we text a lot, which is good. But no, it definitely adds another layer being a working parent, especially if you have 2 individuals who are working in the home. It's just I don't know how stuff is getting done.
And I respect a lot of parents that are going through this. I know it must be hard. So be encouraged, everyone out there. This is going to get better, and we're all going to get back to normal, hopefully very, very soon. So today is an especially exciting episode because we will speak to some Pipeline alum who have recently been accepted to VCU School of Pharmacy and Medicine. So this is great, and we will meet them right now.
Originally from Ethiopia, he's a student at Minnesota State University. He majored in biomedical sciences, worked as a certified nurse assistant and laboratory technician, and was recently accepted to VCU School of Medicine. Welcome, Jote Limina.
From Vinton, Virginia, just outside of Roanoke, Virginia, he is a graduate from James Madison University, currently receiving a master's in physiology from Georgetown University, and newly accepted student to VCU School of Medicine. Please welcome Brady Simpson.
From Blacksburg, Virginia, a small town in Southwest Virginia, she's currently a rising senior at Virginia Tech studying biochemistry. She enjoys cooking, spending time with friends, and going for long walks outside. She was recently accepted into the VCU School of Pharmacy. Please welcome Brenna Levison.
And finally, a senior at Hampton University who was recently accepted into VCU School of Pharmacy. Her favorite color is lilac purple. She enjoys listening to music, singing, and dancing, and being unapologetically herself. Please welcome Jayla Washington Bennett. These 4 newly accepted VCU students were part of this past summer's Summer Academic Enrichment Program, which is one of our pipeline programs.
You are on this episode because you've been accepted, and this, we are so excited for you all. So we just want to know, like, how did it feel to be accepted in your respective schools? Jayla, you can start us off.
Yes, it's still very crazy. I don't know. Like, I feel like I'm still like, I could just pinch myself repeatedly. But honestly, I was at work when I got the call, and I told everybody when I was there, I was like, hey, if I get a call, can I step out or whatever? So they were like, yeah, that's fine. And I get this call, and I see it's 804. And I said, okay, it's an 804 number. Blah, blah, blah. I'm spilling it to her like really fast. I could go get it. She's like, yeah, go ahead. So I run. It's just, I don't know. I can still remember like just the feeling of like, wow. And like, it was kind of like one of those things where it felt unexpected just because of the environment I was in. Like, I was at work. So it was like one of those things where like I had to take my mind from work and then go to you're getting accepted on this call type mind, if that makes sense. But it was amazing. I don't know. I feel like blessed. I feel very blessed. And I feel like SAEP was a big stepping stone that really helped that work for me. So yeah.
Oh, that's so good to hear the SAP, helped you. But like literally, how did you go back to work after that? Like, I was so like, okay, peace y'all.
Like, gotta go. No, honestly, it did. I don't know. Like, I guess because I was at work, and I've been working. I work at Chick-fil-A, so I've been working there for 4 years. That's been my first job, and I feel like because I was so used to that fast paced of, okay, if something happens that's out of the norm, you got to go back to it and just like act like nothing happened. If that makes sense. It's like I was able to like go back and be like, okay, I got to rush out these orders. But at the same time, it's exciting. And I definitely went back and I told everybody, I got accepted. People were sitting around me when I was on the phone and hearing it and stuff. It wasn't out loud, but they were just hearing me converse on the phone. So like, even when I got off the phone, people were like, oh yeah, that's so exciting. So it's just amazing. I still feel so blessed and grateful.
Guys, that's so exciting to hear. Brenna, what was your experience?
Well, my experience was I got the call right after I got out of the shower. So I was still in my robe and towel when I picked up the phone. But I also saw it was an 804 number. So I was like, oh my gosh, I have to pick this up. And I cried. I did cry. Because it's just like you work, you spent the last 21 years of your life, well, maybe not in kindergarten, I wasn't working towards this, but like I would say like the last 4 years of my life working towards this. So it's like, it is very surreal to see it finally pay off and like finally, not that like I didn't have purpose before, but it's really like, it gives you a lot of purpose. You're working towards something you really love and you're passionate about. So yeah, I'm really excited, and I'm really excited to go to VCU also.
I love how you guys are describing it because it's like making me feel like I was there. It's definitely giving me some chills because I there's so many moments in my life where I've been accepted to things I didn't expect or I worked really hard for. And sometimes there's a lot of room for rejection. There's competitive schools all over the country. So like getting into a school, it's a blessing in itself. So congratulations, Lorayah.
Yeah, speaking of that, Ray, not on y'all's level, but I remember when I got my my letter to go to my undergrad degree. It was early action, and I was at McDonald's at my job, and my mom called me and was like, "You have a letter," and I was so excited. Like, I was like, "Read it," and I still remember that I jumped in the, right in the middle of McDonald's, and my institution. But so I definitely understand what you all are feeling. But the competitive part, right? Like school of med, pharmacy school, you have to, be prepared. And so I'm just so excited that you all get this experience. But yeah, let's hear from Brady. What was your experience like?
So I pretty much applied to only VCU early decision and made it a lot easier, a lot cheaper. And so I was sitting at dinner actually with my girlfriend, and I got the email from VCU, and this was only like a week after my interview. They're like, "Oh, like your status has changed in the application portal." So I get my phone out, try and pull it up, and it won't come up, and like it doesn't work on my phone. So I had to wait for like an hour until I got home and got on my computer. And like I signed in, and I was really, really nervous because they said like, "Hey, we're going to do like an initial probably like cut through of the interviews. And if you get an email like sometime this week or like next week, then it's probably just going to be like a cutoff kind of thing." And so I was like, man, it was only a week ago. Like maybe I just didn't get in. And then I opened it up, and sure enough, it said I was accepted. And I mean, it's just huge sigh of relief, huge. So called my dad, and the first thing I said to him, I said, "Drinks are on you tonight, Dad. Like I just got into med school." And he was in the middle of Lowe's. He jumped with joy, and everyone was like, "What is wrong with him?" So, but it's gonna be kind of hard now because I'm in school and I have to stay motivated. But it's like, hey, I know where I'm going with my life next year. So.
And that's something we
Yeah.
think about. It's like, it's not just work for you, it's also work for your parents or guardians. They've done so much to get you to this point. A lot of them, their goals are just to have you become something better than they were. And that's why they're so excited. And that's why they really are so happy that you've accomplished something, and they're just excited about your future.
Yeah, and it also reminds me of when you like work hard. So I think about my daughter when she learned how to ride her bike and her doing it on her own and getting it and like reaching her goal. Like to me, I feel like that's equivalent of like seeing you all getting into the schools that you want. It's like you hope, you're supporting them, but they have to, study and do what it takes. And the fact that you got in and you like did it, like that's so exciting. I'm really excited, y'all. But Jote, tell us about when you found out you were accepted.
Yeah, so like Brady, I got a notification email, but I didn't even look at the email because I knew. So we had that get together for the SAEP, and Dr. Jackson had told me that you should check your email on Friday, your portal on Friday. So I kind of like, I was like, she wouldn't tell me if it was not good news kind of situation, but I was still so nervous. So I was still checking like at 6 p.m., just refreshing, hitting refresh like a million times. And yeah, when that update came in, like I had like my family behind me. So yeah, it was really nice. And I called my parents, which are back home in Ethiopia. And my dad could not talk to me because he was just, I don't know, speechless, I guess. So he just passed it on to my mom, and she cried. So it was really nice. Yeah.
I feel like you all gleaned from your time being at SAP, and so if you could share it with everyone, that would be so awesome. Because our applications have opened, and so we want to get more students into our VCU health programs. And so any tips and strategies would be so helpful on how this program has helped you. So Jote, would you like to share?
Yeah. Well, SAEP was really amazing. I made a lot of connections, like in the faculty and even like other students. Like even if I like walk back and trace like towards my acceptance, I wouldn't have been accepted. Like, I don't know exactly, but it would be really hard to get into MCV without SAEP because I did early decision. I like they reviewed all my like application stuff and they saw missing stuff, but they knew like they believed in me and kind of like pushed me towards like a good application, and I was able to be accepted. So and like SAEP was like a lifeline pretty much for my career.
Jayla, what was your SAP experience like?
I'm going to admit it was stressful, but I feel like it was the good type of stress because you learn from the stress. Like when we had so many classes and work to do and so much studying on top of, still implementing the self-care and kind of getting away from classes and just juggling all of that. Even though it was stressful, it taught me a lot about how to basically be able to take the stress and turn it into a drive. So like, yeah, I may be stressed about all of this work I got to do, but I feel like, if I got to keep studying, even though I feel like I want to rest, I got to keep studying because this is going to get me that A I want or that B I want. It's going to help me get get into that finish line. And I feel like SAEP, if anyone is thinking about doing it, do it because like Jote said, it's your jump start. It really helps you. I feel like it helped me get accepted. I feel like it's just like that stepping stone that it really helps you because, from my experience, Miss Taryn, she saw my application and she knew the potential with mine too, my application, and she suggested to do SAEP. And she said, you're going to have to wait a whole year because I, applied for last year's fall. So I would have been technically there now. But, she said, but if you wait a year and you do this pipeline program, I know it'll really help you. And it sure did. So do it. SAP, it's great. Do it. It's amazing.
Awesome. So Brenna, I would love to hear your experience.
So I had a really good experience with the SAEP too. I won't lie. When I applied, it said this is a rigorous program, and I was like, oh yeah, my major is pretty rigorous. Like I think I'll be able to handle it. Like it won't be that different. But like it is rigorous. They do not lie to you. It is hard and it is stressful, but it probably has been one of the most rewarding things I've done. For us, it was virtual, but I was still able to make connections. I know, like, after all our classes were done and stuff, we had review sessions on Zoom on our own time. And I know Brady did a few physiology, one of those that we attended and stuff. And we still came together and, we're all able to accomplish our goals. And it definitely helps during the application process because you get to know people in your school. So like Jayla said, Ms. Taryn, she was rooting for all of us the whole time. And like when I had any questions, she was so helpful and so supportive. And I think something I really struggled with was my confidence. And through SAP and through my coaching sessions and my peers and the people that I met, I think I gained the confidence I really needed in myself too.
I know when I would text you and just check in, you would be like, I'm not sure if I should be more upfront or ask questions. And I'd be like, yeah, do it. If you have a question, just ask it. Just be connected. It was difficult this year because we were virtual, but it was still a time where you could show that confidence. I'm glad that grew. I'm glad you're accepted now. Brady, what about you?
Yeah, so SAEP was amazing for me. I mean, just like Jote said, it was like a lifeline, really. I mean, I get to go to an in-state school that's close to home. I mean, it was a dream. But honestly, I think the best thing for me was being in such a diverse environment with diverse people. I mean, I hate to say it, but my hometown is like predominantly white. My undergraduate institution was predominantly white. So I mean, that's the best thing I got out of it, was I got to talk to other people and learn about other people and interact with others. And, you know, I learned a lot of things about myself, like how I wanted to study, and especially dealing with being on the computer for 8 hours a day because I was online. So there was things I had to learn. But if I had to give a recommendation to students wanting to do the SAAP, I would say that if you're going to do it, you need to take it 100% and hunker down for your 6 weeks, because it's like your extended interview, really. I mean, if you go into it 50%, they're probably not going to take you because they've seen how you are with classes. So, I mean, unless you're going to go into it and be really serious and say, hey, I'm going to prove to these people that I can do this and that I'm capable, then do it. And that's what we did, and here we are. So
it's very true. It's an extended interview for real, because it can help you get into school, but it also gives them a chance to see how you are as a student for a prolonged period of time. So you really do have to give 100%. So today our guest is a board certified anesthesiologist. After graduating as valedictorian from J.R. Tucker High School, she attended MIT, where her research discovered a gene at MCV and VCU for both medical school and anesthesiology training. She was the chief resident and graduated with honors. Providing human connection to ease the fears of nervous patients is what she loves about anesthesiology. A model, a mom, a physician, and Dr. Virginia 2020. And recently, she won the pageant for Dr. United States of America 2021. Anesthesia is her platform to raise mental health awareness, educate about COVID-19, and encourage young boys and especially girls to go into STEM fields. Please welcome Dr. Michelle Lynam, Dr. United States of America 2021 and VCU School of Medicine alum. Hello, Dr. Lynam.
Hello, everybody. I'm great. How are you? Thank you for this opportunity to talk about my passions and interests.
Thank you for just agreeing to do this. I was very excited when I saw that you won. I'm big on pageants, and I love when people have multiple interests and multiple passions and attributes to their personality. So today we have with us students who have been recently accepted to VCU School of Pharmacy and VCU School of Medicine. Brady and Jote, they've recently been accepted to VCU School of Medicine. Brad and Jayla are going to VCU School of Pharmacy. So, and we also have Miss Lorayah Lenore. She is the Assistant Director from the Division for Health Sciences Diversity. Dr. Lynam, tell us a little about who you are and what you do.
So I work in private practice. So my connection with VCU sort of ended when I finished my training. But I definitely enjoyed my time there. I was there for 8 years. So after MIT, I did do my 4 years of medical school there. And Richmond's just an incredible place to live. And my family's here. So I stayed on for my anesthesiology residency and did most of my rotations at MCV. They sent us to the VA for a few months. But just, it's such an amazing school. The fact that they have a vibrant transplant center and that we're on I-95, I mean, there's just so much experience that I obtained.
Thank you. In terms of the pageant, Dr. United States of America, tell us about that. Tell us about your platform and what that process was like, especially during COVID. I heard the pageant was virtual.
Right. So you said you have an interest in pageants. Maybe when I was a little girl, I was excited by them. But I never thought I was pageant material because I cannot sing and I don't play an instrument. And all those girls are just so well spoken and great communicators, and they sing and do ballet and all that stuff. So I really didn't have that. I know my daughter's model, and I know some of the girls in the pageant systems, and one of them came across the Dr. USA, which gives pageants titles to women with doctorate degrees. And she said, "You're such a nerd, you're perfect for this." And I said, "I can't, no, I'm not a speaker. I don't know. I can't play an instrument." So the director actually called me herself and said, "I really think that you would be perfect for this." So she gave me a little bit of a nudge. And I started thinking, like, there are some things that I'm really excited about that this would help me give a greater light to some of the charities I like to do. And so I did apply virtually. I did a runway walk at Maymont, and I had to do a field interview, but Jacob was at our hospital, so I just did it at my husband's office, put some medical stuff behind me, and just kind of talked to, it's on YouTube if you want to see it, but I just kind of talk about, you know, what I love about medicine and anesthesia, and just had to list all of my accomplishments and whatnot. And then we had an interview, and that was nerve-wracking. So that was a Zoom meeting, and I couldn't unmute, and I was all rattled. And of course, you know, they hardball me with, what's your biggest failure, as my first question. So, but it's been kind of an exciting process. I will say that one of the people that really inspired me is the former Miss Virginia, Miss America, Camille Schreier, who is a doctor of pharmacy student. So she won for Virginia, and she won for Miss America. She's the current Miss America. And when I looked at her sort of talent, she got up on stage and she did this. She had her lab coat on, her glasses, and she did an experiment called elephant's toothpaste, where you take a little bit of soap, hydrogen peroxide, and you pour in a catalyst, and it just explodes. And she did a huge one on stage. And I was like, gosh, you know what? This is what little girls need to see. They need to see smart women who love science. It's okay to be a nerd, and it's okay to put lipstick on, and you can really push yourself to do things that you're not, you know, normally doing.
I'm sure we have a lot of questions for you, so we'll just go through. Lorayah, did you have a question?
Yeah, so being an anesthesiologist during, you know, this time, how has COVID like impacted your practice, or how have you had to maneuver or adjust to, you know, everything that's going on?
It's been the most frightening point in my whole career. In the beginning, there was so much that was unknown. I mean, I pretend like I'm an expert, but there was just so much, you know, how is it airborne? You know, I've always thought it was airborne, and now the CDC says it's probably sometimes we're airborne. So there's just so much we don't know. You know, am I supposed to be dunking my lettuce in bleach every day? So, but in the hospital, it was really scary because we didn't have enough personal protective gear. So, and I mean, even still, we're saving our N95 masks and reusing them, and they're reprocessed. But it's better now. There's testing. So for our elective surgeries, we do try to test the patients if possible, if there's enough time. But even that's not perfect. So we do intubations, and we're up in people's airways all the time. So, you know, I'm greatly at risk, and I worry about the other people around me in the OR who are at risk. And then I worry about coming home and, you know, being an asymptomatic carrier possibly, and sharing it to my family, especially my mom, who's 83. I entered into the Pfizer phase 3 vaccine trial yesterday. I had my appointment, so I got my shot yesterday, and I'm just going to go on a limb and think that I did not get placebo because my arm hurt all day. So that was kind of exciting, and I, you know, I do that for multiple reasons. I think we have to put ourselves out there to volunteer, to advance science, and you know, I'm in a high-risk job, so I want to protect myself. I want to protect my family, and I want this vaccine to, you know, march through the safety procedure so we can vaccinate our country and just get back to life.
So we'll go around the room. Does anyone have any questions for Dr. Lynam? Jayla?
Yeah. Hello. What made you, or what was, I guess, like the kickstart that made you want to do anesthesiology? Like, what drove you to do that?
Yeah. So after I did all my rotations, I didn't know what I wanted to be. I knew I liked being in the operating room. I thought about urology because it was just a lot of fun. And my husband actually, he went to dental school. He did oral surgery, and the oral surgeons do get a few months of anesthesia training. And then he went back to medical school where we met, and then he did a plastic surgery fellowship. So he's got like way too much training. But he told me, like, you know, you're really hands-on. I think you would love anesthesia. Told him he's wrong. I'm going to go to the emergency room. And back then we did not have a emergency room residency at VCU. We were one of the last years when it was just handled by trauma surgeons and whatnot. And so I loved that it was just, you know, very satisfying. I could get something done very quickly. But what I didn't like about was the people coming in for primary care, you know, the people who fell through the cracks, but I felt like that some people were kind of abusing the system. And then, I don't know, I felt like a lot of patients, like you got them started and then you handed them off to somebody else. So the next month I listened to my husband and I did an anesthesia rotation, and I knew right away. I love that, here's a patient, they're nervous, and I can sit down and talk to them, and they have pain, I can numb them up, I can, it's such a scary time. Anybody who's had surgery, you talk to them, they're usually worried about the anesthesia. So it's very satisfying that, I start my day, meet my patients, I get to know them a little bit. I will say that when I was at MCV, Dr. Nelson of the Nelson Clinic, he gave me some great advice because I did a urology rotation. This is the senior Nelson. And he said, always get to know something about your patients. So when they come back, like, oh, you're the one who's got the pig farm. Oh, you're the one who likes to bake. And gosh, it does so much. Now, granted, our verse ed does a lot, but being able to, connect with the people really does so much to ease their fears. And they think, gosh, this person, this doctor who's so busy cares about me as a person. They want to know about, my activities. And I want them, I want them to know about me. I share, if I have a mom who's coming in, who's having a miscarriage, I'll sit down and, tell them, about all the history that I had. And, we share a moment. So, and then, just all the hands off and stuff, intubations and the procedures and stuff. And at the end of the day, you're like, I'm done.
You're such a perfect guest for today because a lot of doctors don't have a lot of hands-on with pharmaceuticals or mixing of medicines. And so with pharmacy students here as well as medical students, anesthesia is probably right in the middle of both. You're doing hands-on medicine mixing, you're administering the medicine yourself. It's not really a nurse, maybe possibly a CRNA here and there. But yeah, that's great. Does anyone else have any other questions? Brady?
Yeah, so I was wondering if you had to recommend a field of medicine to get into, like today, what would be your recommendation?
So you're in med school right now? You just got okay.
Just starting in the fall, yeah, next fall.
It's a challenging career. It's a lot of hours. You can look at lifestyle things, what would mesh best for you, but it's got to be something you enjoy. It's got to be something you love because, if you're getting a phone call at night, and you don't love your job, you're going to be miserable. So you've really got to go after, something that sparks your love of medicine. Something brought you to medicine. You can't look at the financial stuff because I've been doing this long enough that, you see that there's like, oh, no one's hiring that field. Oh, now they're outsourcing radiology to another country. So you just got to go with what you love and, love what you do and you'll enjoy your life and your job. And so hopefully you'll get exposed to something during your training and or you'll meet a patient who'll inspire you.
The good thing about medical school is you have a lot of time to know and experience different specialties. So you're going to get a chance to see a lot before you have to decide, this is what I want to do forever. Brenna or Jote?
Yeah, I have a question. So I had read in a little biography about you.
Oh no.
That your parents actually had fled a communist country to come to the United States. And I was just wondering how that has shaped you as a health professional.
Oh, that is the basis of me, my whole story, my whole being. So my parents were, they're from the Czech Republic. At that time, it was Czechoslovakia in the 60s. And my dad was a huge nerd. He was a brilliant MD, PhD, and kind of conservative. My mom's the adventurous one. So in Northern Africa, in Tunisia, there was some political uprising. All the educated people left. And the Czech government, the Tunisian government were friendly. And the Czech government said, we'll send you some doctors. So my mom said, let's go. They were in their 20s. So my dad had learned about all the tropical diseases. And so there they are. And they were there for 3 years. Patients would bring them dinner, but it would be a live rabbit. So they had live rabbits and gazelles running around the backyard. They had a pet donkey. So it was really the time of their life. But what they really enjoyed was the freedom, not looking over their shoulder. Someone's going to turn you in and report you. So after 3 years, the Czech government said, come home. They said, and it was probably mostly my mom, they said, we're not going home. So they literally met at night in the American ambassador's home because they didn't want anyone to catch them going to the embassy. And they made arrangements. It was in the 60s. It was President Johnson. It was very easy for people who were educated, had a lot of published papers to come here. They were like, oh yeah, come in, we want some educated people. So they came here with nothing. They left all their money. My relatives back home were actually thrown in jail as punishment for what they did. And so growing up with this smart dad, it was always medicine in the house. And not just the samples that he would get, but there was always, I couldn't think of not having that knowledge of just what I grew up with. And he was a researcher. So that ties into like why I wanted to go to MIT, because they don't teach you like med school. They teach you how to memorize and regurgitate. They would have open book tests. Bring your books. Good luck, because they taught you how to think critically and try to solve problems. And so, after medical school, anything in medicine, there's chance for research, even like, trying to figure out a better way to keep us safe in the OR during COVID. And, in the lab, you're a lot of hands-on. So anesthesia is kind of like being in the lab a little bit. I got my one patient, and let's see what happens if I give this patient 15 cc's of propofol versus 12, or they have a history of nausea. Let's try a scopolamine patch this time and omit this gas or something. So it's very satisfying, rewarding. And I think there's something about first generation children that they realize the sacrifices that their parents did for them. And so they maybe overachieve a little bit. But my father's passed away, but my mom's 83, and winning this pageant's been a real treat for her. It was all virtual. She was my videographer. She was my photographer. And she loves this country so much. My parents, they really taught me to not take freedom for granted. So I think all that has helped me like just work hard and, appreciate America.
I really appreciate you telling that story. It's the American dream to come here and succeed. I personally immigrated as well here. I'm not first generation. I'm like the person that did it.
You're a generation.
I'm like the person who immigrated here for a better life. So I'm still fighting for that American dream. And this is working for VCU is a big part of that. So thank you for sharing that with us. Jote, did you have a question?
Yeah. So like Brady, I just got accepted to medical school, and I started. So I'm afraid of if I will have time for my family and friends while in medical school. So like, how was that experience for you? Like making time?
I was at a point in my life where I had a dog. I had my parents in town. I was dating someone. We were a support system for each other. We were studying together. So as hard as it was, I had a lot of support systems. And I would tell your friends, like, I'm not going out partying with you this weekend. Not that we're doing that anymore, but I was very fortunate that I had great support systems and people around me. My brother is also a physician who went to MCVVCU. So everyone in our family kind of knows what the routine is, that, when you're in the anatomy lab, you're not going to look or smell that great. So you're going to be studying, you're going to be cranky, you're going to be like tearing up the room looking for those notes. But you learn a lot because you put a lot of hours in, and it's a big sacrifice. So that's why, I mentioned before, you got to find a field that you really love to do, because it's a great honor, and it's also a great thing that you're doing for the citizens that you're treating.
All right, thank you so much. Does anyone else have any questions for Dr. Lynam?
I have one question. So how do you manage it all? I mean, you are a anesthesiologist. Your husband is also in the medical field. You have children. You have time to do these pageants. How do you find the time to manage it? And what are some practical tips that you can give others out there who are trying to balance it all, especially during this COVID time? I don't know if your children are in virtual school.
Right. I probably don't do any of it really well. And so, but I do have a lot of support systems. I lean on people when I need to put stuff in that calendar. And yeah, my daughters I've got one that's driving now, so that's a little less stressful. I do have a kindergartner. She's doing virtual school. That's a little more challenging. But you lean on friends and maybe take a few shortcuts here and there, and pick up your groceries online. That's been a big help. So
Yes, grocery at Walmart pickup.
yeah.
Walmart's not a sponsor. Let's just say that.
We only mentioned it once.
Well, I appreciate you telling us about your background, your pageant. Like I said, I really love pageants. They're really fun to look at. I myself, you're looking at Mr. SGH Personality 2015, which is a pageant my hospital did. So,
Where's your crown?
I have a sash, but it's somewhere buried. But it's funny because I didn't win, but I won personality, which I don't know what that says, but I'm happy about it nevertheless. So we want to thank Dr. Lynam for just being here today. Thank you for sharing these important tips and also just sharing what your platform is for this year. We wish you all the best for your reigning year, and we will have you on again.
Excellent.
Thank you so much and have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us here today on The Pipeline. We want to thank Dr. Lynam, who joined us as our guest today. We have the Assistant Director from DHSD, Ms. Lorayah Lenore, Jayla Washington Bennett, Brenna Levison, Brady Simpson, and Jote Limine. Again, if you want to be a part of the Summer Academic Enrichment Program or any VCU Pipeline program, visit us at dhsd.vcu.edu or sign up for our social media, which is at VCU Pipeline on all platforms. See you later in the pipeline.